Hello everyone and welcome back to another Brought to Your Table showcase where I get to showcase to you some of my absolute favorite games. My name is Luke Jones and last time I showcased off Disney Villainous, obviously a game that you all folks know from watching this channel for the months that we've been around. But today we're going to take a look at another game that I thoroughly enjoy that I don't think enough people really talk about that I really want to give some light to. And that is actually another Ravensburger game, which is Minecraft Builders and Biomes. This game is essentially an adventure game where you are basically playing as one of the Minecraft characters, kind of going through the world, collecting blocks, building stuff, fighting mobs, and really is trying to recreate the experience of Minecraft in a more Euro-style game. You know, when I first heard about this, with most license, especially in the video game world, video games don't usually translate very well to a board game environment, but Minecraft actually is pretty interesting because it's more about building. You're really just trying to build your own world and interact with the world in this survival adventure style game. And the way that they were able to translate that mechanism into Minecraft, the board game Builders and Biomes right here, I think was excellent. Absolutely fantastic game. A sleeper hit, I think, from 2019 that folks do not give enough credit for. So, just like we did last time, I'm going to show off a little bit of the game, some of the stuff that I really like about it, and we'll kind of come back and talk a little bit about getting your hands on this game. Alright, so I've done a little bit of a miniature setup to the game, but I'll kind of talk a little bit more about what you'll be doing in the game. So, kind of the goal of the game is that each player is going to start off with one of these unique little map tiles that kind of acts as their own personal victory score track, as well as their own little world that they're going to be interacting in. Now, the way that this works, essentially, is that players are trying to gain the most experience. So, by taking this little experience point tracker that everyone's going to get, they'll start around their board, and they'll go around a circle. And essentially, even if they get to 50 points, they'll actually go around in another circle as well to basically score more points. Now, the way that you gain points in this game, there's actually a multitude of different ways. Mainly by doing scoring at the end of rounds, which is through these, which we'll talk about, as well as fighting off mobs while you're adventuring. So, the way this game works is that during setup, you're going to actually set up, 16 different stacks of 4 of these little tiles. Now, I've only shown off 4 here just for the sake of my camera setup right here, but you're actually going to have basically a 4x4 grid of 4 stacks of these tiles. Now, on your turn, each player is going to have the ability to do 2 different actions. Now, one of the main actions that you'll do is basically move. And when you move, you're going to actually showcase any of the tiles that come up. So in this case right here, any of this right here, you're going to flip up one of these tokens. In this case, I revealed an Enderman. And that is now available for people to see and interact with. Now, I don't immediately interact with this right away. I just get to flip up the tile because that's part of the adventure aspect. Now, that's only if I hit the corner. Now, I can't show it off here because I don't have the full 4x4 grid, but let's say your mover moved here into this corner space right here. That means all these tiles get flipped up. Now, it's important to note that this is only when the player moves. So in order for them to actually discover new things, the player is going to actually have to move. Now, you can move from 0 to 2 spaces. So if you are here and for some reason all these tiles are flipped already on like this, you can just say, I'm going to move but not move anywhere, and then all that's going to flip up. Now, on top of that, you're going to actually see this giant cube of blocks right here. And what you can also do on your turn is you can take up to 2 cubes from this giant square right here, as long as they have 2, their top showing, as well as 2 other sides on them. So at the start, when you have this big cube, you can only take the corner pieces. But as more pieces get removed, there's going to be more pieces that get shown that you can now take. And the reason why you're going to want to take these cubes is because one of the actions that you can take is to take any of these building tiles and based off of basically the cubes right here. So I have this gray cube and the sand cube right here. And this one right here specifically has a, there you go, stone and sand. So I just pay for the cubes like this. And then I can play this onto my board over here. I can just basically play this anywhere. Now, even though you're going to see some default landmarks here, these don't really matter where you're building. You can build these wherever you want. And that will actually matter towards your scoring later when we get to the scoring phase, which we'll talk about. So that's one thing. So building these different buildings and such matter for some scoring, and that's pretty important. Now, on top of that, what you can do is you can also fight an available mob. So right now we have this Enderman mob right here, which is pretty tough. It's got a lot of hearts on it. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go try to find a simpler mob just to kind of showcase maybe a possible win example. Here we go. Here's an easier one. There's a zombie. We got a Zambino right here. Hello, Zambino. How you doing? So let's pretend that the zombie was actually on top of this one instead. When a player starts off the game, they're going to actually have the starter set of weapons. That's going to be like this. It's going to be a wooden sword, a stone sword, and then 3 rotten potatoes or poison potatoes. And they're all going to be in these chests like this. What you'll do is you'll shuffle them around, and then once you're ready to fight the mob, you'll take 3 of these and see if you deal enough damage to the mob right there. And it's based off the amount of hearts that are flipped. So in this case, I have 2 hearts, and the zombie is 2. So in this case, I actually defeat the zombie, and I immediately gain that many victory points. And then on top of that, I gain any extra bonus actions or abilities that are listed on here. In this case, with this particular one, I believe it allows me to take an additional action afterwards, which is pretty nice. So all I gotta do is just go here, I hold on to it, and then I can use that ability. Now some of them, like the Enderman, specifically have end of the game results, or essentially for every building that you have at the end of the game with that particular icon, you get to score that many points. So for each one of these that has this little picture frame on it, I gain 2 extra experience points that I can add at the very end of the game. So defeating these monsters basically allow you to get extra victory points, as well as, you know, gain extra abilities and actions or experience. So that's pretty nice as well. You can also, at the edge right here, grab one of these equipment cards to add to your weapon pile. So in this case right here, I can go grab this bow and then add it to my stack. So that way I have a better chance of possibly defeating the monsters later, because when I shuffle these up, I now have the possibility of drawing the bow and giving myself extra actions. I believe this one right here on the bow allows me to take or draw an additional weapon from my stack, which is pretty useful, especially when you're trying to take out more of these powerful enemies like the Enderman. It's important to note that if you do fail one of these, you do not have any negative repercussions. So if you just fail, you just basically, the only repercussion you're getting is wasting an action. So players are going to go back and forth kind of doing all these different actions and such until this tile of these blocks right here, the first layer gets removed. So eventually what's going to happen is players are going to be taking these blocks off. And then eventually what's going to happen is this first entire layer is going to get removed. Now, you might actually see some extra blocks get removed and such. But once that first layer is removed, you go into the first scoring phase, which is phase A. You can actually use these reference cards right here to tell you how the scoring works. So essentially, what will happen is that you'll be able to gain points equal to the number of connecting, or the number of connecting pieces based off that particular type. So, for example, let's say I would gain 3 for each connecting piece of the greenery. So this also counts for any of the starting tiles right here. So in this case, let's say if I actually bought this green piece right here, I would be able to score 1, 2, 3, 4 times 3, 12 victory points because of my green right there, which is pretty awesome. Now, you don't just gain it for the greens, you can gain it for all the others, but the idea is you want to try to connect as many as possible to score a ton of points. And obviously, it ramps up based off the type that you're building. So, on the winter, it gives you 6 per each one that's in a row. Stone gets you 5, sand is 4, green is 3. Now, that's just round 2. Now, the extra layers are going to get removed over time, and after layer 2 gets removed, you'll go to phase B, where this now is based off of buildings. And what you will notice is that even though certain pieces are going to have like different greenery and such, like this one right here is green, this one's sand, these building tiles are actually the same. So in this case, you have the sand one right here, and those are the ones that are now going to connect. And if you actually take a look at your player board, the starting locations do not have any of those building icons on them. So it's going to get more complex as you go on. And something to keep in mind too is that if you want to actually build on top of a structure, you're absolutely allowed to. So that's not a big deal. It's just the fact that you're just going to have to sacrifice that tile, because when you get to round C, we get into more complicated structures such as bridges, fencing, the picture frame, housing, etc. So there's all sorts of different things you'll have to look out for when you're doing the scoring. Once you're done with the third layer of the blocks, the game ends. You do your final scoring based off of any of these conditions right here that you'll have on some of the mobs that you'll collect. And that is essentially the game. You're just going to be going around, that 4x4 grid, exploring, building different buildings into your little score grid right here, trying to basically create some small tableau of stuff to score extra points when you get to the end of the round. Fighting mobs, gathering gear, all sorts of stuff. It's a very light, simple game, but there's actually a lot of different strategy to it. That makes it even fun for those that are experienced gamers. This game is definitely geared towards a much younger audience. It's not very complicated at all, and the way that the art style and the iconography is put together, definitely made for a younger audience, but it definitely is trying to capture the spirit of Minecraft, and I think it does it in a very, very good way. I want to talk about some of the things that I really, really enjoy about this game. So this game really caught me off guard. One of the reasons why I really wanted to talk about it today, just from the fact that, I consider myself more like a mid-level gamer. The most competitive or deep I get into a game is something like playing Star Wars Destiny, a collectible card game. We all know that I do a lot of competitive Disney villainous, but even at its core, Disney villainous is not necessarily like a high-level thinky game. This game right here is a very light adventure game. And a lot of adventure games that come in the tabletop format are a lot heavier of a style of game or take a lot longer to play. Minecraft specifically never takes really more than, depending on your player count, an hour. Usually you are able to complete a game of this under an hour, which is super fantastic. One of the reasons why I like it. And although I'm not able to show it here, you can imagine when you have the full 4x4 grid, how much there is to actually explore in this game. And that's what I really dig about it, is that you're definitely going to have all the players playing the game have this sense of exploration as they're trying to uncover new tiles and find new things to, move along, discover, see what they want to fight, see what they want to, buy using the blocks, all that fun stuff. There is lots of cool things to uncover in this game. That's part of the exploration factor of it that I really dig. On top of that, the scoring system and how you really mainly score your points, I think, is really clever. It's basically asking the player to buy, or using the blocks that they're gaining, buy these different properties, and then build a tableau that's not really doing anything towards them besides just allowing them to score a bunch of victory points once the round condition is met. I also love the fact that basically your currency is essentially these giant wooden blocks. These blocks are also incredibly well made. They're very well finished. As someone who played with a lot of wooden toys as a kid, the finish on this is absolutely great. You can drop these down and it's not that big of a deal. I also have to give a huge shout out to the fact of how this whole block system works. And the fact that there is a level of strategy to it where, obviously you're going to be trying to gather the blocks that you want to get to buy certain properties. So you can use this as a way to, steal particular resources from the player. And on top of that, actually go after properties that you might think that your opponent will get. Because one thing I didn't mention when talking about the rules is that, you can only gather these tiles when you're actually adjacent to them. So if I was over here, even though these are up, I'm not going to be able to purchase these with my blocks that I own. I actually have to move there and then purchase. That's part of the whole action economy part of this game. That makes it actually relatively interesting. On top of that, too, you might actually, especially once you're getting into the later rounds, you might just take blocks to try to finish the round, as one of them drops right there. So instead of actually taking these blocks to maybe try to get some more of the properties and put them onto your player board, you're actually going to use this as a way to try to end the game faster and really try to stress out your opponents. So there's actually a really cool level of strategy there. I also have to give a huge shout out to the fact how the battle system works. It's really simple. You just basically have a bunch of tiles that you shuffle together, and then you just reveal 3 of them and see how much damage that you deal. And it actually encourages you, if you want to play that way, to gather more of these equipment cards, because you start out with 3 duds. And it's possible that in your first go-around against even the simplest of enemies, you might get 3 of these rotten potatoes. So you actually are encouraged to go get these, because honestly, scoring a lot of points from these different monsters is pretty good. The Enderman himself scores you 6 points, and especially how many points that you can gain during this game, this is a lot of points. So gathering these up too is super awesome. I really dig this whole adventure feel of this game. The game's quality is also super awesome too. It is relatively, you can tell that they were trying to make this game as inexpensive as possible, but that does not mean that the quality of the game suffers. All these tiles are cardboard. You do punch them out, but they are very solid. They feel really good. The cardboard's nice. It doesn't bend very easily. Same thing with these. These don't bend as easily either. You really got to actually force at it. These are really nice, thick little cardboard tiles, and they do have these little punch outs for all the different characters right here. The only thing that's a little on the cheaper side is the plastic stands, but honestly, that's okay. You just take these and put them on. If you really want to, you can even take the stands off and just probably play like this if you really wanted to. Although it's definitely designed to put these folks on their stands. But it's super cool. They also come with these awesome little reference guides. So there's actually 2 sets of the scoring tiles. So if you want to pass them around to the different players to let them know how the rounds score, as well as actual action reference cards. So like these right here, they actually walk you through how many actions you can do on a turn and all the different actions that I talked about. There's enough for each of the players, so that's pretty awesome as well. And obviously I didn't show it all off, but there's a big chunk of these. Honestly, I am super excited for expansion for this game because just having more things to explore and experiment with just gives you a lot of variety. And there's literally 64 of these. It means, and you're probably not going to see them all every single game. So there's still stuff that I probably haven't seen yet in this game, in terms of at least the building specifically, that I'm really looking forward to checking out in future playthroughs. I really, really like this game. It's a ton of fun. As someone who doesn't play a lot of Euro-style games, the most Euro I honestly get is Ticket to Ride, and I did get a lot of Ticket to Ride feels while playing this, with just the fact of you're just trying to, get stuff in a row, use that the way to score a bunch of points and all that fun stuff. There really isn't a lot of take that in this game either, which is really nice. So that way when you're playing with your friends or your family, it's a lot more of just trying to be the most as efficient as possible. There's not really, the most it goes to take that is possibly ending a round prematurely or maybe stealing one of the properties that someone was trying to buy and all that fun stuff. So really fun game. I really dig it. The aesthetic and the design of it as well. Very Minecraft feeling. I really dig it. And I also have to give a shout out that you do have to put this block into a giant cube at the start. And the game does come with this little device that allows you to stack everything in the perfect cube that it's meant to be. So that way you don't have to worry about trying to stack this perfect Jenga tower at the start of every game. So this is pretty awesome. I really dig this. Really useful tool. These are also made very well too. They're a thick cardboard as well. So overall, really well put together game. I really dig how this game makes you really do feel like you're playing Minecraft. And even if you aren't a fan of Minecraft at all, you're going to really get a kick out of this game. And if you are a fan of Minecraft, you're going to get a kick out of this game as well. There's enough depth for those of you that are more experienced tabletop gamers, but if you're mainly trying to maybe buy this for your kids or someone that you know who loves Minecraft and you're not necessarily into all that jazz, this will still be a joy. It's very simple. It's really easy to get into. Anyone can play this game. It's really fun. I absolutely adore it. As someone who is a slight Minecraft fan, as well as my brother can attest this is a really fun game. And my dad also really enjoys this game as well. And he loves Ticket to Ride and games like that too. So really up your alley. Doesn't matter what the age range. They'll get a kick out of this game. So there you go. That is Minecraft Builders and Biomes right there. So I did a little bit of an overview about a lot of the stuff that I really liked about this game. And I strongly recommend that if you were thinking about purchasing this game, you give it a shot. I do believe it's only $30 or $35. And you can buy this at any of your local retailers like your Target. You can get it easily on Amazon as well. This game, like I said, plays really short, plays in under an hour. It doesn't matter what your player count is. You can really play this with any age group as well. I think what makes this game super fantastic is the fact that you can bring this to any table at any tabletop gaming party and whatnot, and people are going to enjoy this game. The thing that's wonderful is that I've introduced this to folks that have never played Minecraft or don't play video games, and they get a kick out of this. I wasn't a huge Minecraft fan before going into this game either. I knew about it, and I played it a little bit, and I didn't actually get into Minecraft more until after I actually played the game. But this game in itself really kind of does the adventure style feel in a light-mannered way, which I think is absolutely fantastic. I really enjoy it. I also got to say, too, I don't give enough games a good credit about how awesome their box art is. This box art is fantastic. Like, it really does, like, the corners of the green, the blues. I'm a big fan of, the lighter greens and the blues. So this box art, speaks to me on a color level. But this game is really awesome. I strongly recommend that you pick it up. Now, I did talk about the different age groups and the different types of players and stuff. And honestly, probably compared to Villainous, this game is a lot easier to probably introduce to any tabletop gaming group, specifically because of the fact of, it targets people who like Euro games, targets people who like Minecraft, adventure style games. Appeals to younger audiences as well as older audiences. There's a lot that goes into this game that I think they do a really good job of. It is a very light game, so if you aren't necessarily into lighter games, this might not be your cup of tea, but honestly, there's still enough strategy here with, finding the right time to take the cubes off and then maybe taking these particular tiles and lay them out in your tableau. I think there is still a ton of strategy here to have fun. I adore this game every time I bring it out. I'm a huge fan of adventure style games to begin with, and this right here really just kind of does it so well, so flawlessly. I really dig it. I'm also really excited that there's an expansion coming out for this game very, very soon as the time this video is going live. So really looking forward to getting my hands on that. That's Minecraft Builders and Biomes. You should really check out this game if you haven't already. If you're a fan of Minecraft and you haven't heard about this game, please buy this game. This game is absolutely fantastic. And if you have if you have kids that are into Minecraft, please pick this up, especially if you're a tabletop gamer. Your kids are gonna adore it. You are gonna adore it yourself. Like I said, I absolutely really like this game. I think this is the hidden gem of 2019. If we're being honest, I don't think enough people talked about this game. But yeah, Minecraft Builders and Biomes from Ravensburger. Strongly recommend you pick it up and all that fun stuff. All right, so that is another tabletop gaming showcase from Brought to the Table. I hope you enjoyed this one about Minecraft. I really dig this game, and I'm really looking forward to doing more of these. This was actually a lot of fun to do, so stick around. I'm going to keep doing these probably on Fridays and all that fun stuff. So if you like that, just subscribe to the YouTube channel. It means a lot, and you're going to see more of these coming out, like I said, over the coming weeks. So hope you enjoyed this and the game that I brought to your table.